So it's finally here, the RaceTalk Blueprint. The RaceTalk Blueprint is exactly what the title of the project says it is. It's conversations about race with the blueprint we hope will encourage you to do more than just watch. It's an initiative we hope you'll let thrive and take up space in your life so you can also contribute to a much-needed change that needs to happen in society today. These conversations are definitely uncomfortable, raw, and far from black and white, but they have the capacity to heal us through understanding. A bunch of my friends and I got together and we decided to have these uncomfortable conversations turn mini-series, and it kind of turned into something better than we even imagined. It was healing and so foreign and scary, but we made it. So watch us, get encouraged, and download the free blueprint toolkit we've created just for you to be able to have these same conversations in your circles. Empowerment, the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's rights. Professionalism, the competence or skill expected of a professional. In this episode, you'll hear some experiences that unfortunately resonate with too many Black and Brown professionals, despite their obvious competence and undervalued skill set. To hear everyone's experience from this episode, listen to our uncensored podcast version of this miniseries.
I realized very quick, fast, and in a hurry that if you suppress who you are in the workplace, people will walk all over you. And I found that in some certain situations that was the case. And I'm not that type of person. I wasn't raised to be like that. And I soon found my voice. And when I found my voice, I think I gave perspective to everybody on my team, not just about me being a woman, a Black woman, and then a Black person in general, but also bringing light to Black people and perspectives that we can still be ourselves and be whole in who we are at work and still get the job done. So for me, I was reliable, I was detailed, I communicated well, and because you could not negate any of those things from me, I still could be who I was. And so that's why I sit on any diversity and inclusion board that I get an opportunity to, because I've been discriminated against in the workplace where I did have to address the person head on and take their ass to HR. And I feel like everybody should know how to handle those situations. So the sad part is diversity and inclusion seems to be like a check the box for a lot of these corporations, and they don't really take pride and heed in what that actually even means. And so that's why it is up to us to make sure, if a Black person comes to the job, we at least vet them, figure them out, welcome them in with open arms. And then, if they're not doing their job, then you be like, look, sis,
get it together.
No, right? But so I've experienced it all, and now I'm just unapologetically Black, 100%, and I don't give a damn. So that's how I feel, and I feel like all Black people, if you are doing your job and you are doing it well, you are reliable, then you should feel comfortable in being who you are in the workplace, because they can't take that away from you.
Yep. But I do feel like when you know that about yourself, you also got to be okay and willing to stand on your own, because people who don't know or understand where that energy is coming from, they consider that as like wrong, or they don't want to like continue to even get to know you or make you feel like included in certain things because it's perceived as, oh, she thinks she's better than us, when it's like, no, I just know who I am, right?
Yeah. And there is still a professional way to address people in the workplace. There's still a very corporate way to address people in the workplace. You ain't got to cuss them out. Yeah. You got to get them Black girl magic and all the hair and the foot. You don't have to do all of that. There's a very professional way to still do it, but do it to the point where it's like, I see you.
Yep.
And they get the point. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you should never have to shrink yourself in the workplace for other people's comfort. If you're trying to be true to yourself, skill is always going to be important in your job. Like, you have to do your job well. that always comes first. But I think a lot of the good examples that I've seen with Black professionalism is like all the people that I've looked up to, where they're in, I worked in banking and like corporate banking, and it's mostly, especially at the top, it's mostly white males. But a lot of the Black professionals that I saw that I looked up to, they were unapologetically themselves, and they did their job well, because people can, especially at the top, they can sense when you're not being true to yourself, or if you have a lack of confidence, or they can kind of notice those things and almost hinder your own growth. And then there's other people that they may see your confidence and they may be intimidated by that, and they may still hinder your growth in that workspace. But I feel that one thing that I'll never forget is the market itself for any job. There's so many jobs available, and there's so many other places you can go. So just because you're out at one place, if you're trying to work through and be your true self and be as professional as possible, but you don't feel like you're getting your due, or you don't feel like you can grow in that place, there's another place that can accept you. And even if that other place isn't out there, you may have to even go as far as creating your own environment where you want to be taken professionally, and share your skill set out there too.
And that's why we're the number one Black female entrepreneurs in America.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right there.
So it's being true to yourself and being unapologetically Black in your professionalism is, I feel like it goes hand in hand with professionalism, like the first skill sets that you're taught on how to be professional, but being true to yourself, that's like the last stage. That's almost the most important, which a lot of people don't realize when they first start working in these environments. So.
Okay, I'll just agree. All I gotta say is I just agree, because what you said about making sure it doesn't stunt your personal growth, I'm a person where people have had me messed up on multiple occasions, and I'm just like wanting to go on guns blazing, sending that email like I'm out and I'll just do my own thing. But it's like, no, like I stand for so much more, and the brevity of my actions, I hope I'm using the right word, it just has such an impact. So I think about that after I like process, and I'm like, okay, let me stand for more than just how upset I am,
Yeah. For me, it was like, I wish I could be myself at work, but I realized like really quickly, they don't want me to be myself at work. Naturally, people are attracted to good energy, and I like to be good energy. I like good energy when good energy comes to me. How she complained that too many people were at my desk. So then I started, when she complained about that, I started going into like, after sometimes I'll probably like go into the private office rooms, which anyone can use. I used to work for Coachella. So you can imagine the office environment, AG, we do Coachella. So I would go in there and just, all right, you complain people there, I'm going to go knock out my work and be done. And then she started complaining that people were saying that they couldn't find me. You can just slack me, but okay, girl. Another time while we were all on Zoom, I had put we're having a meeting. All these other white girls are talking over me. I was like, when you're just like, those Zoom meetings are just like, whatever. Like, I don't even need, like, only if you guys knew the extent of my skill set, I would really be out here helping out, but whatever. As soon as I turned my video off, these are women who were talking over me. Every time I tried to give an opinion, somebody spoke over me. As soon as I turned my video off, somebody was like, where is Esene? And my boss responds, probably somewhere smoking weed. She didn't know I could hear. I was just here.
No.
Yes. So then I turned my camera back on. Like, girl, I'm right here. I was like, I'm right here. She said that. And then all of them laughed. Now, mind you, on the flip side, I run a successful business. So I'm not dumb. I'm smart as hell. I'm smart, On the flip side, I run, it's like literally a business that you think that we own like it runs a well-oiled machine. So, and I had to start focusing my energy on this business, because I realized that if I want the type of life that I want for myself, corporate America is not going to get that to me. I have to give that to myself. So my partner and I, we literally put our energy, most of our energy, into this business because we know that this is our legacy. There are many times there's somebody picked up a megaphone in my office and yelled in my ear, "Show me your green card." Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, I might have would.
You better than me.
Magic on there. I would have had to turn up. I don't know about that. That is so disrespectful.
Yeah. So imagine like how people expect you to be professional and they do things like this in office spaces. And I had to take it to, I remember when I had to step outside and call my dude like, bruh, you need to calm me down because this is I knew that if I reacted the way that I deserved to react, it would have been an issue. I don't even like to yell. I hate yelling. Like I cry when I yell. Like if I have to yell, you just know I'm about to go into some corner and cry because I hate yelling. But that's like, you want to be you or whatever, but when your presence is threatening and when your presence is intimidating, and I could many stories, but when I realized early on that my presence was too intimidating for my career to reach any type of deserving space in that space. So then I decided to just, let's go start a business. Let's just do what you love anyways, work for yourself to a certain degree. And that's kind of like why you have so much entrepreneurship, especially with Black women, because I think I can't speak for Black men, but I believe that Black women suffer so much in those spaces with with white men being creepy, already, and sexualizing. They do it so much. We have stories for days. And then white women feeling insecure with your presence when you walk in and how smart you are. It's like,
how beautiful you are too.
It's like, they'll ask you like little things, like with your hair, if someone touches your skin, like why, it's in the little things. We pick it up, but it's there. There's always like I remember another time, I always have my nails done. Like, that's the thing about me. My nail sets are always fire. And then one time I came in with some basic nubs. My boss was like, "Oh, great nails. So professional." I'm like, girl,
why is she coming for you?
With the map of Africa on my nails, and this is what you like?
It's all the same
I'm
ball.
gonna pull up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like calling HR.
Does she still have a job? Is she still employed?
I'm not like the story. I started documenting these things. Like I have a folder on this girl because I was like, if I ever have to sue,
Yo, that's wild.
Wait,
Do you still
is
work?
she still in?
this story is wild, but it happens.
Wow.
Why do you feel like or what has been your hesitation with reporting her?
Oh, honey, I have reported her.
Oh, okay.
They have gaslit, when they make you seem like you're crazy.
Mm.
That energy, like, oh, she didn't really mean it like that. That wasn't really what it was, And as soon as I did, then she started like complaining about literally making up lies. I had to start keeping receipts about my work because then she took me to HR and tried to complain about my work. And if I didn't have my receipts, they would have fired me. Imagine you're going to work and you have to like keep your receipts to make sure, because you know what you're dealing with, right? So they didn't fire her. They made it seem like I was crazy. Like, oh, she didn't mean it like that. Going like, oh, she didn't really say. No, she meant it like how she meant it.
Especially when you stand up for yourself and who you are in your work environment that you're actually contributing some good to, you still feel like the outlier, the person that's wrong because you weren't able to just go with the flow. But it's also very telling to know that like you can shift your energy and your patience changes when you know that this is not my career, this is just what's funding a part of my dream, right? Because then it's like, I'm not going to even entertain that because I'm not here for that. I'm going to collect my check and put it towards this. So then when I'm gone, I can do what I want to do and never ever speak to people like you,
Exactly.
Those are the ones that are like, well, how else you do that? Like while you were talking shit, I was building. That's it.
Exactly.
What I was going to say, I think what intimidates, it shouldn't even have to be all that. I shouldn't even have to collect all these receipts on people just to come in and do my damn job. You know what I'm saying? Like, it shouldn't be all that. But one thing I've noticed, and particularly with Black women, from my own experience, they are intimidated by the fact that we can do everything. Like, I've come into spaces, I'm an innovator, so when I come into spaces, like, I really get the sense that people see that I can do pretty much everybody's job. And that when they see that I could do it for less amount of time, less amount of money, I think they see how it jeopardizes, like, oh, like I might not have a job. Like, and also Black empowerment, it intimidates them to see like, oh, Black people really are present and really are thriving. Like, what does this mean to me? Like, I think that's where the insecurity comes from.
And instead of bonding, they're like, let's do this together so I don't lose my spot. It's like, I got to push you out because I'm not even ready to uphold myself to that standard, because they don't know what that takes, but they know it's not. It's foreign. They don't know what that is. And it's frustrating. Very frustrating.
I think that's why it's just extremely important to understand, well, you always have to recognize who is in your corner in the job. And you know, when facing situations like that, how is there like anyone above that person that's in your way that you can possibly work with or have more direct communication with that can support you? Because I ran into situations like that where I wasn't good with my direct manager, but I was like in better terms with his manager above that. So I would kind of work my way around it. It's almost like your awareness. It's unfortunate that, you know, Black people and especially Black women have to go through doing all this just for the sake of just coming into work. Like how tiring it is. Like, I just want to work. I just want to get in here, do my job, do it well, and make my way. But we have to understand our environment, who's really there to support us. And, you know, and it's important to have good mentors to kind of guide you through those tough times. Like, you know, I had a really close mentor while I was at commercial banking, and like I probably wouldn't have survived without that. And you know, I can go to her and she would give me her perspective just as a Black woman, just on how to navigate through these things and how you need to show up when my reaction wasn't always the best. So it's part of the professionalism where you have to do these things. But I will say, like, more on a hoping things like, you know, change for the better and being more optimistic, that I feel like we're, especially right now in the work environment, because everything's so remote. You've seen how the workplaces have tried to address being more diverse and understanding and listening to their Black employees. I think we're kind of at a new movement where a lot of these same things probably won't fly, hopefully, in the new workplace environment, you know, and I'm hoping it will be that way. And, you know, I think it's important to keep the pressure on these companies. You know, I know that, you know, I worked on a big initiative to move, like in the Treasury Department, to move like money into Black owned banks. And we got the support of our company to do that. And we changed our investment policy, and we started shifting our money where we hold them in normal bank accounts, like from like the normal big banks, and we moved it to Black owned banks. And we really like worked with this initiative to do this. And, you know, what was cool about that, it was like, it kind of created a domino effect where other companies started saying, well, we need to do something like this. And I've never really seen the industry kind of shift where it's like, you know, we have some power, we have some leverage here in the workplace. So, you know, from my experience, from the things that I've experienced this year alone, I feel like there is kind of a shifting in the work environment. And even if it isn't to your, you know, if you're working someplace and it isn't even up to your standards, again, you always want to you understand what your own value is, and you want to always make sure you're getting the most, your true value as a person. Like, if you're not happy somewhere, or if you can go somewhere else where you will be valued. Because in the end, if a person loses a good employee because of, you know, pettiness and just not letting, you know, not being professional, like these little slights towards race and things like that, if you lose a good worker for that, someone else will utilize them, right? Or there will be a space for them somewhere else where they can get their true value.
Really quickly, I want to talk about the flip side, then we'll go back to Olu and Tony, what you guys are feeling about Black professionalism. But the flip side of the, what I feel to be the epitome of encouragement, Black empowerment, professionalism, and being lifted by your higher ups is Leah's situation.
I do want to start off by first saying that, like, it makes me so angry listening to your situation as an A, and Ashley's situation, and Brittany's situation, and Gordon, even things that you're saying. Like, it infuriates me. And, like, thankfully, I haven't had to deal with any of those types of things in my career as a working professional. I've been very fortunate and blessed in the fact that I've had white allies on my team who wanted to see me succeed and who were in the position to make sure that I succeed. So I'm speaking to you today from a person in a senior level position at a very well-known company, and being the only African-American woman in a position, youngest African-American woman, I should say, in the position that I'm in right now. But I have moments when I'm sitting in a room and I am the only Black female there, and I get this feeling in my stomach, like, I hate to say this, but it's almost like, do I deserve this? You
Yes.
know, like why me and not this other person? Like how?
But that's
You know?
what it's supposed to be. That, you know what I mean? That this is what
Yeah.
life looks like for Black people when there is no freaking, people in the way. Like, that's the right way.
Of course. So yeah, my experience has been very, very different. And I've had people in my corner that have wanted to see me win and have ensured my success. And I know that it's not common at all, but I'm blessed, and I'm very thankful for it. It's just now, I do recruiting, for those of you guys that don't know. So I hire everybody that's coming into the organization. Now I feel like it is my responsibility to make sure I'm creating a diverse work environment. So I want to hire more Black people. I want to hire more Latino people. I want to hire people that don't look like me. And I want to hire people with disabilities. I want to hire people of different sexual orientations. I'm trying to do my part to make sure everybody is presented with the same opportunity. So that's it for me.
Girl.
So proud of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Proud of you, Leah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I think a part of, and really quick, I think a part of too, just the professionalism for me is becoming more, confident, just in my Blackness, which, which follows me when I go to work. It follows me when I'm at the gym. It's a everyday, all time thing. So the more and more I become comfortable in my Blackness, it translates into how I show up confident in the network, unapologetically.
It gives you the space to even like utilize your strengths better, right? Like to
Yeah,
do the work.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and for me, when I used to work at one of the big 4 consulting companies before I left recently. But when I started, I was literally the only Black person in my, I don't even want to say the department, but in the whole consulting arm for technology. And I'm talking like the only Black person in out of 500 employees globally, right? So when I got in there, obviously I was a little inexperienced, I was a little timid, and like Leah was saying earlier, sometimes I was feeling like, am I supposed to be in here? It's kind of like that imposter syndrome, right? And you're like, okay,
Exactly.
you standing out like a sore thumb. So it kind of initially got me down a bit. And, it breaks my heart to hear the stories from Ashley, Brittany, and Azine. I never went through as much as y'all went through, absolutely. But you still felt like, your managers are still plotting against you, right? It's trying to sabotage you like every step of the way. Luckily, like Leah, I had some white allies who I could lean on. And, they mentored me, they encouraged me when I actually wanted to storm out and quit like 2 years into the gig, and, which should have been a massive mistake. But ultimately, I decided to tap into my inner blackness and kind of like unlock my swag. And I just brought that. I was like, you know what, F this. This is me. I know I'm awesome. I know where I came from. I know how far I've gotten, and I deserve to be here as much as anybody in there, maybe even more than everybody in there. So I'm just going to do me, put in my professionalism plus on, and just, just kick ass. And that's actually the way I felt like I was able to grow and kind of let all those things bounce off me like Teflon, and just continue to thrive and just succeed. After a few years, I basically became the face of like the same arm of the company. And after a while, I discovered even my self-worth was bigger than the company. So it was time for me to step out and do my own thing. So last year, myself and a group of friends just decided, yeah, we're too big for this stuff. We don't care what they're offering us. We're just gonna, step out and do our own, start our own company. And luckily, we're able to do that. It's been a year. Things have been great. We've been doing things, in a diverse way. Goes back to the Black empowerment, empowering each other, and just moving, moving to greater heights. So I guess that's my personal story and experience about it. But yeah, I touch it. Yeah. So.
I'm very proud of you, Olu.
Oh,
Congrats!
Yeah.
It's big, Olu.
We've all from different backgrounds, right? And we're in different professions, but everybody's kicking ass. Mm-hmm. And it's so encouraging to meet a group of people, that look like us and that just sharing that story. I think it's so powerful and so encouraging. So thank you. Thank you very much for sharing.
I love that. Switch roles again. Izine, do you want to talk about what Black professionalism for you? And then I'm going to wrap up for the solution part.
I think Black professionalism for me is, because I feel like I agree with everyone's opinion already. I don't really have anything extra to add to it, but I feel like Black professionalism for me is just like, I hate to say it, but I'm going to just tag along what Olu said, unlocking your swag. Corporate America, corporate in general, is something that is rooted in racism when you really give it a thought, because things like dreads or afros are having to be, legal to have in the workplace, this kind of situation. So when I think of Black professionalism, I think of all the beauty that we bring into it. I think of people like Lewis Hamilton, who is still literally consistently running things on the racetrack. I think of sports. I think of people like why am I forgetting? I don't know how to say her name. Boz. She works at Netflix now.
St. John. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Black professional. I mean, it's almost like when you get into the, like at my job, we used to have this Slack group called the Black Caucus. It was like this private group. Obviously, it was all the Black folks up in there. We were like
the same name at every company.
Yeah. Like only 8 of us. This company of like all these people, only 8 of us. But it was always a situation. We were very good at our jobs, very, very smart, very intellectual. But at the same time, we found a way to overcome this place that told us that we didn't belong and just do the damn thing. Yeah. So I think of Black professional, that's just what I think about. All these people that, may or may not feel like they belong in this space, but every time they show up, they really show up and they exceed, the bars that are set. Hence why people feel threatened when you're in certain spaces. Hence why people don't understand why Lewis Hamilton is still, sorry, I'm really an F1 girl. But hence why people don't understand why Lewis Hamilton is still winning these races.
No, I get you. I seen him in Mexico City get the
15th. 2 races? One race he won with a flat tire. Basically, the man was supposed to win and he still won. So it's when you think about Black professionalism, that's what I think about, like, against all odds, we still deliver. Against all odds, we still show up. Against all odds, like, we still unlock that swag. So that's my take. Yeah.
I'm not Shay, so the breather moment is not going to be like, oh, it's in, whatever. I don't know how to do that these days, right? Because that is just so healing. But we're going to improvise, and I am just going to give you a quote that just came to mind when everyone was talking. What I do or have been doing for the last 2 years is I study someone who is influential to me, a woman or a man, but they're just older, and someone that's influential, I want to learn all about them. So I do every type of research I can to look at their interviews, read their books. And Maya Angelou once said to Oprah, when she was the only Black female or Black person, period, in these conference rooms or whatever, to always remember that when you go into a room, tell yourself, I come as one, but I stand as 1,000. And to me and to her, she's interpreting that as all your ancestors who fought for you, everybody who is your ally, everyone who has encouraged you. You come with all of those people inside of you to lift your spirits. And that is what gives you that push when you do have that imposter syndrome, right? Because feelings aren't facts. So I hope that that can resonate and stay with you. So if you ever feel that, again, imposter syndrome, because it's real, just know you come as one, but you stand as 1,000. See, I told you I'm not shy, because I'm trying to get to the next point. But for that. And for the solution part, you all mentioned great points. And I think it's a good takeaway to know for empowerment. How do we keep building that? Break away the Africans versus African Americans stigma that we have. Acknowledge it, but dissolve it as well. And for the building professionalism, I think it's clear as day, because you just brought a bunch of healing to me, to know that we can do it all and then some, and we can do our work while we're dancing at the same time. And that's that swag that you're talking about, right? And it's not normal for them, but that's just innate. It's within us. So thank you for bringing that realization. But I would love to add that as our solution if you guys are okay with using that. If anyone has anything to add. So yeah.
I do. I have something to add. Global reparations. I'm just saying, like, I'm of African descent. Why don't I pay taxes to Africa? Okay? So I just think that worldwide, we need to demand money from all these countries that have colonized us, enslaved us, and come together.
And one other thing to add, I would say, no matter what, at one point you are in your professional career, you should always seek out your community, like the appropriate community mentorship, Black professional groups. I've been a part of all of those. Those have definitely helped me from the jump, from every single phase of my career. And you'll be surprised how far and like how many people you end up knowing, and how many times you kind of see those same people in your circle. And you know, it empowers you also to want to help other people out, and that are, you know, kind of trying to navigate those same things that you may have experienced.
And therapy.
Always
Don't let them in your life. Don't let them do your life. Do not ever let them make you feel smaller than you really are. Never. That's something I have to tell myself every day. Do not let them dim your light.
Yeah. You're there for a reason. They hired you for a reason. So.
And now they want to kick you out because they realize, oh, you're too good. You're too freaking good that you.
It's gonna be their loss.
Yep. But thank you all. I appreciate every one of you.